In 1880, American Greco-Roman champion William Muldoon defeats Theobald Bauer in New York City. This victory, plus a victory over Edwin Bibby, allows Muldoon to make a claim as the first World Wrestling Champion. On this date in 1970, the WWF held a show in Madison Square Garden in front of 16,800 fans. Tony Marino and Victor Rivera took on the team of Killer Kowalski and Walter Von Erich for the WWF International Tag Team titles, and in the main event saw Bruno Sammartino vs Ivan Koloff for the WWF World Heavyweight title. In 1980, All Japan Pro Wrestling aired their weekly show and showed matches from Miyagi that took place a week before. These matches included Bruiser Brody and Angelo Mosca versus Rocky Hayter, Tiger Taguchi, a tag team match between Giant Baba, Jumbo Sahuta versus Billy Robinson and Dutch Mantel. Then those matches are followed by a 13-man battle royal. Also on that same day, World of Sport aired in the UK with a card that included Chris Adams vs Lucky Gordon, Ken Joyce vs Tony Costas, and then Giant Haystacks and John Quinn vs Honeyboy Zimba and Dave Bond. In 1985, NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida aired on television. On this show, Scott McGhee faced Rocky King, Dutch Mantel took on the Red Raider, the Youngbloods went up against the team of Ed Seigel and Randy Barber, Ric Flair went up against Jack Hart, and then Pez Whatley went one-on-one with Mike Golden. AWA held their championship wrestling show on this date in 1988. On the show, Greg Gagne went up against Dennis Stamp, Adrian Adonis faced David Price, the Midnight Rockers took on Pete Sanchez and Tom Stone in a tag team bout, and Curt Hennig went one-on-one with Wahoo McDaniel. The 1991 Royal Rumble was held on this date in the Miami Arena in front of 16,000 fans. Hulk Hogan won the Rumble match, which was his second win in 2 years. Earlier on the show, the Rockers took on the Orient Express in a fast-paced opener for the time, and Sergeant Slaughter was able to defeat the Ultimate Warrior to end his reign as the WWF Champion. The next year, the 1992 Royal Rumble was held on this date as well. Even after all these years, this show is still considered the best Rumble match in history. Ric Flair was able to win the match as well as the WWF title by outlasting the likes of Sid Justice, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake, The Undertaker, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, and a whole host of well-known names. At All Japan Pro Wrestling's New Year Giant Series in 1995, at the Day 14 show, we see the rare 5-star match being awarded. In the main event of this show, Kawada went to a time limit draw of 60 minutes with the challenger Kenta Kobashi to regain the All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown title. The Monday Night Wars clashed on this date in 1998. On this episode of Monday Night Raw, DX decided to have a cookout in the middle of the ring. Barry Windham turned on Bradshaw to join the shortly lived NWA faction, and for the first time, Stone Cold Steve Austin confronted Iron Mike Tyson in the middle of the ring, which is still one of the peak moments in the entire Attitude Era. On Nitro, Chris Jericho took on Juventud Guerrera, the Steiners faced off against Buff Bagwell and Conan, where they were still teasing the future Big Papa Pump heel turn, and a main event of the Giant vs Hulk Hogan in another convoluted main event. The third Royal Rumble to be held on this date was 2003, a mixed night of results for the WWF, as the World Heavyweight Championship match between Triple H and Scott Steiner was seen as a huge letdown. But then, on the other hand, the WWE title match between Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit scored a 4.5 stars from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Then, in the main event, Brock Lesnar was victorious in winning the Rumble match that included the likes of The Undertaker, Kane, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels. Then, in 2020, Progress Wrestling out of the UK had their 101st show, comically called Dalmatians, held at the Electric Ballroom in London. On this night, Paul Robinson faced A-Kid, Ginny defeated Mercedes Blaze to regain the Progress Women's title. Then in the main event, Cara Noir overcame Ilja Dragunov, Kyle Fletcher and Paul Robinson in a 4-way elimination match to win the Progress title.